Hello and welcome to FTB Sport. My name is Darius3K and I'm joined with two very regular guests in Solo United 7 and Sam Spurs for Life. How you guys doing?
Fabulous.
Good.
Yeah, I was going to say,
great day.
I've not been doing much football wise this weekend because I'm not really bothered about the FA Cup like that. So I've been watching, but yeah, the teams expected to win have kind of won. I know West Brom lost today, didn't they? So
Yeah,
that's probably really the
seen
only
any
shock.
results. As long as what's Arsenal's, is it 0-0 still?
0-0 still, 0-0. But
Yeah,
I'll tell
thought
you
so.
one thing though. Today is the first time I would say in the 20 odd years I'd had the opportunity to actually watch some of the games. FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. Absolutely.
I mean,
love it.
I like the pitches, just that feeling of having a pitch that's not such a massive stadium and have an actual good looking old school grassroots pitch. That's what I like to see. Like I was watching Boreham Wood play today. I can't remember who they were playing, and the pitch looked like pitches that I used to play on when I was playing football. And I was like, this is great. This is amazing. So that's what I like about the FA Cup.
But Crawley as well. Another upset. Crawley beat Derby.
Yeah,
2-0.
yeah. So there's a few. But anyway, let's get on to what we're really here for, and that's some transfer news. So we've got our first story, which is a done deal. Sebastian Haller from West Ham has joined Ajax for £20 million, and he originally signed for West Ham for £45 million. So they've made quite a loss on this. They've seemed to sell in January, where they're doing okay. I think West Ham are doing pretty well in the season. So I'm quite surprised to see Seb Haller go. So I'll go to Solo first. What do you think of this transfer? Do you think that this was a transfer that was planned, or do you think it's come out of nowhere? Do you think it's come out of the blue?
From what I've gathered from David Moyes, it weren't something they were looking to do. They weren't looking to sell him. What they were looking at is a loan deal. But because of the current climate out there at the moment, they can't afford to go back into the market to buy a player. So I think they inquired about a few clubs. Few clubs come back and say, right, we'll loan him, we'll take him off your hands and pay sort of 70% of his wages. Now, Ajax from nowhere came out and said, right, we'll give you 20 million. And he said the offer was too good to turn down in the current climate. Again, yes, they lost 25 million on him. And for me, it's a shock because he's not doing too bad. And with West Ham this season so far, they're not doing too bad in the league. So to get rid of him is massive. But the rumor is Josh King, they can get Josh King for about 5 to 6 million.
So it seems like there was a little bit of not a plan, but they had a replacement ready because, yeah, like you said, I was quite surprised to see basically, I would say their second striker go after about 2 years of being there. He seems to have gone now. So I was quite surprised. I know there was another rumor about Eddie Nketiah joining West Ham, but Sam, what do you think to Seb Haller? Do you think that it's a loss for West Ham, and do you think that it's going to affect them in the season? Obviously, they have to get in a new player. If they don't get a player who's Premier League proven, he's going to have to assimilate to the league. But if they do get Josh King, do you think that's going to benefit West Ham as a team, or do you think it's going to affect them going forward?
Firstly, as a bit of business, it's terrible business. I think they bought him in 2019, summer 2019, 42 million, around 42, 45 million. They've sold him, what did you say, for 20 million
20
now?
million.
20 million, yeah.
20 odd million pound loss on a player, including wages. I think it's terrible. I'm not sure West Ham they do stuff like this all the time. You know, their transfer dealings are terrible. I really haven't got a clue what's going on here. If they can obviously get someone in like Josh King for 5 million, 6 million, Josh King's probably worth 20 odd million in normal circumstances. I just think they just probably wanted to get rid of him because they didn't want to be stuck with a player that's not really playing much. I haven't seen him really play that much for West Ham. But if you shell out £42 million for anybody, you know what I mean? You've really got to, I think, at least give him a go, a run in the team. He must have obviously had some, you know, prestige. He's come from a big club, and I'm just not sure if this is a good deal.
I think it's a difficult one because I think you're right. I think that season before 2018-19 season, I think it was, when he was playing for Frankfurt, they were part of a really good Frankfurt team. I remember watching them, and they had Rebic, who went to AC Milan, who's doing great at AC Milan, and they had Jovic, who went to Real Madrid for about 50, 60 million pounds. So they had a trio there that was working very well together. And with Haller's kind of he's like a throwback centre forward, as people say. He's a big, tall centre forward who's going to hold the ball, he's going to win a header, and he's got an acrobatic shot on him. He's scored a couple of bicycle kicks in his career. So I think the problem with Haller and West Ham was that they didn't give him somebody to work off of. He's not a striker that can play by himself. He needs somebody to work around him and kind of do the work around him. So when he lays off that ball, there's a player to kind of run on and create chances off of it. So that's what I think's not worked out for West Ham and Haller.
So because of that, why wouldn't they buy somebody in a position to be able to maybe give him some chances? All I'm thinking of is from a business perspective. That's a lot of money in this current climate to take a loss on for a player that's not even been there 2 years, because he came in the summer of 2019. So we're only a year and a half into this deal. As I said,
and he's only 26 years old now as well.
Yeah.
So
I would have thought that, you know, the powers that be might have looked at, you know, creating something around him. We always talk about creating around a player, but if you're shelling out that sort of money on a striker, you think, yeah, this is our main striker for years to come. And that age, as you were saying, you would have thought that maybe they had a longer term vision, but things don't always work out.
Yeah. The thing that catches me, though, is, like we said, West Ham's doing really well, but their top scorer only scored 3 goals this season. So, again,
he's not doing the job that they want him to do.
Yeah. But the thing with it is, I think if I'm right, I came on the Pellegrini because it was a different style of football they played. So I think he was using him as sort of like, when they first started, he played on like the left side of sort of the front three with Pellegrini. But with David Moyes, we know what David Moyes is all about. He basically, it's almost a snatch and grab, isn't it, really and truly, with him? So the football West Ham's playing, like what they said, if there's fans in the ground right now, that West Ham team, as well as they're doing, would get booed because of the football they play. So again, I think, to be honest with you, I think Ajax has done the best deal here.
Yeah, Ajax have got a steal here, haven't they?
Yeah. If you look at the league as well, they're all PSV and Ajax, 14 games they've played, and Ajax is 1 point above. So again, I think he will come in, and I can assure you, by next season, by the end of the season, he'll be top scorer there.
I mean, the Eredivisie, yeah, like if he's doing well in the Bundesliga, I think the Eredivisie will probably be a position where a place where he can actually, like I said, I don't think he played terrible for West Ham. Some West Ham fans may disagree, but when I watched Haller play, he had a role, and when you're a player like him, you're not meant to be dribbling past 2 or 3 players. You're a big guy. You're meant to win the headers. You're meant to keep the ball at your feet and bring other players into the game. So I think Ajax, now that obviously Klaas-Jan Huntelaar is 37 years old now, so he's a similar player to Haller. So I think that's a perfect replacement for him. And I do think that Haller, I think it's just, like I said, I think it was just a deal where they just wanted to get rid of him, and I don't think they realized somebody was going to come in for 20 million. But as you say, Sam, it's a bad deal. It is a bad deal. You've lost 25 million on your record signing after a year and a half. You've not really given him a chance, have you? So
they're talking about the replacements that they're talking about. He talks about Josh King. There's also this talk about Marko Arnautovic, both of whom are, well, Josh King's 28, Arnautovic has had a been at the club. He was 31 now. He left on a bit of a bad terms. He was bad mouthing people. His agent was bad mouthing people. He basically wanted to get out of the club. I'm not sure if this is just rumors for him coming back to the club, but you know, for them to sell someone who's 26, make a £20 million loss, buy someone who's possibly 28. I know they might get him cheaper, but Arnautovic, they can't be really seriously considering that. As I said, for me, this is just, it's a bit of a desperation thing. Maybe the player doesn't fit David Moyes' style of play. That's the only thing I can imagine. But again, you've got to build someone around that sort of player. His style of play, he's a striker. You don't get strikers of this sort of quality come around that often. So they must have obviously seen something in him.
It's a difficult one. Sorry, Solo, go on.
I was going to say, with the Arnautovic one as well, I don't know if you guys watch the Chinese league. I now and again indulge in it. And Arnautovic, he looks massive now. So again, bringing him back to the Premier League, that's going to take sort of half a season just to get him back fit.
Especially when they're doing so well, and the league is so volatile at the moment. I mean, anybody can finish in a European spot this season. So I think it's a strange one. But yeah, moving on. Again, looking at teams that have potential to do better than they might have thought at the start of the season. I know we bang on about Spurs a lot, but I've seen a story about Spurs and Eder Militao, who he's not really seemed to do as expected in Real Madrid. I mean, he came to Real Madrid from Porto for £45 million. He's only 22 years old. I don't really see much in this, but my question is to Sam, obviously being a Spurs fan, my question to you is, a 22-year-old centre-back, is that something that Spurs need? Because I know we need a centre-back, but a 22-year-old centre-back, knowing that we've just bought Joe Rodon, do you think it's, even though he might be, he seems good, he seems okay, but do you think it's a 22-year-old centre-back we need, or somebody with more experience, maybe a little bit older? It might not fit that Spurs model, but I think we do need a bit of an older centre-back. What's your thoughts on this?
Again, there's so many rumours that go about. Firstly, the thing with Spurs at the moment, we've got a problem in terms of homegrown players. We haven't got enough in there. So we're going to have to get rid of a homegrown player. Oh, sorry, we need to bring in more homegrown players. So we'd have to probably get rid of more foreign players. This is another foreign player that's likely to be brought in. 22. I'm going to do a Danny Rose here. I'd have to Google this guy to find out about him. I don't really know nothing about him. So I'm just going by, if he's at Real Madrid, whoopie-doo. There's lots of players at Real Madrid and Barcelona and these sort of clubs who don't get games, and they don't get games for a reason. So if they're willing to let someone like this go, 22-year-old centre-back, yeah, it's all about potentially him coming good, but it's not somebody, that we should be gambling on, because we don't need to gamble on 22-year-olds. We've been getting rid of people like Cameron Carter-Vickers, we've got rid of one Foyth, we've got rid of centre-backs, potential defenders, to bring in someone like Joe Rodon. We need a commanding, experienced, mid to late 20s who's going to come in, as they say, hit that ground running and be in the first team. This guy doesn't appear to be, he's going to start in the first team. And as you said, we've got someone like Joe Rodon who kind of fills that void and has probably got a bit more experience of certainly being in England and playing in the English league. So for me, it's not one that I'd be too keen on the team doing, the club doing.
I think it's one of those signings that Real Madrid made when they signed Rodrigo, they signed Vinicius Jr. They seem to go to Brazil and sweep up all the talent just so they can have that talent and they can hold on to that talent. And I get what you say about there's a reason why Real Madrid would sell a 22-year-old, because if he was good enough, they wouldn't think about it. But then I can flip that and say that recently this Real Madrid team has been very, very good, and they've got a lot of good players, young players who want to get in that starting 11 and feel like they should be playing, i.e. Sergio Reguilons, who have moved on to pastures new and found clubs that kind of respect them a little bit more and appreciate their ability. So it's a double-edged sword. I've seen a little bit of Eder Militao. I don't really think he's going to be what Spurs need. Solo, I don't know if you know anything about Eder Militao or you can give any views on him, but do you think that Spurs need someone like him, or do you think that Spurs could get a different centre-back who could maybe have a more commanding role that they need to fulfill for Spurs?
Again, we'll probably have to say we need to Google this guy, don't we? Because again, it's the same process. We don't really truly know who he is. But what the information I can gather on him, obviously we're saying he's a 22-year-old, he's a centre-back, but he can always play at right-back, and he can also play as a DM as well. So it's going to be a rumour, but it could be a Jose signing because, again, versatile player. So for me, yes, he's not playing for Madrid. He's not starting for Madrid to start with. He's 6'1". He made 29. Yeah, he played 29 games for Porto. He scored 1 goal, and then Madrid went out and spent over 40 odd million on him.
How much?
They spent £45 million on him, which was crazy when I first heard it. I think they just wanted to buy all these Brazilian talents and just hoard them, basically. Yeah. It's £45 million, and I hadn't heard of the guy until he joined Real Madrid. So it is crazy. It is crazy.
And he's made 8 appearances for the national team. But again, for that and he's not even his substitute appearances for Brazil. So it's not a player who, like you said, Sam, we know nothing about really.
This is not a first team player. This is not somebody who can come into Spurs and command competition for the likes of Dyer or Alderweireld. This is what we need as a club now, particularly for January. You don't need anybody that you need to bed in for the next 6 months, a year. Typically, if you bring someone from abroad, Brazilian, he's got to have time. We've brought in Vinicius over the last few months. He still hasn't settled and adapted. It's a risk. And what's the sort of asking price? I don't even know what the asking price is.
I don't know. I think they'll probably be willing to take a loss. I think Real Madrid have been willing to cut on players that haven't really fulfilled that potential. But it screams and it stinks of another Davinson Sanchez signing, where he's a young centre back who's come from a big established club who hasn't really seemed to get into that team. And I just don't really know why we go for it.
The only way I would do this sort of deal is if we got him for like £5 million. We could, keep him in there for a year, 2 years. He'd only be there for what, 2 years, 24, and you could sell him and make a profit. Yeah. So that's the only sort of deal I could see. If he comes good in that time, so be it. But I wouldn't spend anything like 20 million, 25, 30. You can go out and get players of more experience and better.
Players
probably.
On the free.
Well, yeah, and that's just no. I don't see Daniel Levy doing this at all.
I think you're right in what you're saying. I think it's one of those paper talk, but I think there's been a lot of centre back paper talk for Tottenham, which kind of makes me think that they might actually be in for someone. But yeah, I think the quality and the actual stature that he brings is not what we need. I think we do need much more of a commanding centre back. But yeah, our final story is more to do with a team that I don't really want to talk about, but it's an interesting story nonetheless because they're linked with about 25 different players. And this is a new one today. It's Julian Brandt. So Julian Brandt plays for Borussia Dortmund. I believe he's 24 years old now. And he's been struggling at the moment. I'd like to say Dortmund's probably my second favorite team. So I pay a lot of attention to Dortmund. And Julian Brandt's only made, he's played 584 minutes out of a possible 1,350. So he's only played a third of the minutes available this season. And this is the thing with Julian Brandt. So he's a centre mid. He's played centre mid. He's played right mid. He's played left mid. He's played centre forward. He's played everywhere. He's played everywhere. He's played for Leverkusen. He played everywhere. For Dortmund, he's played everywhere. He can't seem to find a position.
This is Arsenal all through.
Yeah, he's only got 1 assist this season. He's very good. He's technical. He's good on the ball. But we've seen this all before. And I just wonder, I'll go to you first, Solo. 24 years old, a guy who's in the Bundesliga, who, again, we've seen what the Bundesliga can produce and we've seen what it can also produce, if you know what I mean. It comes with a risk. And I don't know if this risk is worth it for Arsenal, but I don't know. Do you see anything in this, or do you see any other players that might be able to do a better job in that creative void that Arsenal need? Is Brandt the right guy, or is there somebody else who you think might be able to do that job better?
To be honest with you, again, like we said, they're going to be linked with every single attacking or creating midfield players this season, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
And like you said, he can play this. He can play left. He can play right. He can play attacking. For Leverkusen, he played 165 games. He scored 33 goals for them. In Dortmund at the moment, he's struggling. He's only scored 3 goals this season for Dortmund.
He's not been good this season.
Yeah, is he the right player for Arsenal? Again, I'm going to say no. He's not the answer for Arsenal. Arsenal got more issues than just this one player, and bringing him in from the Bundesliga is going to be a gamble. It's going to be a huge gamble to take. Plus, with Dortmund, we all know what Dortmund's like already. They don't need to sell anyone.
No.
So
they've said that already as well.
Yeah, this transfer is going to be over 40, 50 million for a player who's not even featuring for them. So for me, there's other players out there like we're talking about. There's loads of players on free transfer that they can go and get and sign. I keep forgetting the guy's name at Leicester at the moment, who Tottenham was linked with at the beginning of the season, like the transfer window. Arsenal could go, why not go and get him?
I'd love to go. Arsenal, please go and get him. Go run and get him. I mean, it's one of those that I think you're right. I think Arsenal need a centre attacking mid, and I've seen Draxler, whose contract runs out at PSG, been linked with them. I've seen so many players be linked with them, but I just don't know what it is that Arsenal are actually looking for in the market, because the players that they're linked with have such different skill sets. There's not a set skill set that they're looking for. There's not players who fit a category. I know you don't really pay attention to Spurs like that, Sam, but do you see any? Arsenal. Sorry, I know you pay a lot of attention to Spurs.
A lot of attention to Spurs.
Do you think that there's any other positions in Arsenal's team that need looking at before this attacking midfield, or is it just a case of just getting anybody in because they have nobody at the moment?
Again, I scratch my head sometimes. Again, we have to always take these things with a little bit of a pinch of salt in terms of rumours, gossip. There's always a saying, no smoke without fire. So let's think about Arsenal from a creative midfielder perspective. They let Aaron Ramsey run down his contract and leave for nothing. They had Henrik Mkhitaryan in the setup. He's nowhere near to be seen. They have
Roma now just signed a new contract.
Yeah, nowhere near to be seen in the Arsenal team. He featured a little bit. Again, Ozil on 350k, sat at home watching, twiddling his thumbs, twittering all day. Now they're linked with a player who's not really getting in the Dortmund team.
A struggling Dortmund team.
Dortmund team. And again, I don't know if they need to get rid of someone first. They've been getting rid of certain players. They need defenders. You know, why are they going for a player like this? Again, I'll have to count that with Arsenal might be struggling to get certain players anyway, because they're not the most attractive at the moment, just given where they are in the league, just given how they've been struggling over the past few years. And also the fact that they've got, you know, Mikel Arteta there. He's not the most experienced. Yeah, he might have a way of playing that going to suit some of the younger players, but you're going to have to bring in players that are very, as you said, very technical, that he might be able to develop. That's not what Arsenal need. I don't know if he's going to have time. Well, he's got some assurances that he has time to develop these players, but they need centre backs. They probably need another fullback at right back. They do need a centre midfielder. I think they need somebody else who's going to go box to box as well as Partey. Partey's, again, unproven at the moment in this club. There's a whole host of people that Arsenal should be going for, and I'm just not sure if this is just a rumour to kind of, you know, get Arsenal fans again. Oh yeah, we're going for this player. Oh, let's look, Julian Brandt, he's Dortmund. Nah, again, it's not for me.
No, I think you're right. I think Arsenal. I don't know what Arsenal actually are plan. I don't know if Arsenal have a plan in mind. I don't know what Arsenal actually set their targets. I don't know what Arsenal's targets are. That's my thing. If Arsenal have a target that they set out at the start of the season, right, we're going to get top 4. Right, we're going to go for the league. Right, we're going to try and get top 6 again. I don't know what Arsenal's intentions are. So, and the signings they've made, they signed Partey, they signed Gabriel, they signed Willian. 2 of those 3 signings I think have been good. But are those signings going to get them to the level they want to be? I don't know what that level is. Do they want to be back in the Champions League? Are they fine with being in the Europa League? I don't know. I don't think Brandt is the player who's going to elevate Arsenal to the level they want to be at. Arsenal fans and Arsenal Football Club in general, I believe, they see themselves still at the level that they thought they were at 15 years ago. I think that they think that they're entitled to finish in that top 3 and to be title contending. I think you need to just rip it up from the ground with Arsenal and just start again, create something new, because that whole mentality and identity of that Wenger ball and everything, it's history now. And I'm sorry to say it's Arsenal haven't been a dominating team for the past 10 years. And I think
let me just throw a name at you then for someone who I think kind of suits the bill, an Arsenal player, experienced player who's played in the Prem and is at a level where I think would make a difference if you could get the best out of him. Coutinho, you know, Coutinho is an example of a player
that would make sense
for me that is a proven Premiership player, has then moved on to a very high level again, maybe not doing the best at Barcelona. He's been in and out and, you know, I mean, on loan and all the rest of it, but I think he wants to come back to the Premiership. There's been talk about him possibly linked to Spurs, possibly linked back to Liverpool. That's the sort of player that I'd be going for if I was Arsenal, because you could probably get him relatively cheaply. The wages might be a bit of a problem, but they're paying wages astronomically
and
anyway.
Wages now as well.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not like they're going to have to scrimp and scrape if they're paying, you know, Ozil that sort of money. And if they get rid of him, they can then obviously free something up on the wage bill. But, you know, those are the sort of names that I would want to be linked with if I was an Arsenal fan now, as opposed to these players who are bit parts. You've got bit parts. As I said, they let what's his name go for nothing. You know, Ramsey run down his contract. It's mind blowing how these things are allowed to happen at a club that sort of size.
So, what's your view on that? Because I think Coutinho is a really good shout. Actually, I think that's probably a much better opportunity. And
the minute you said it, Sam, I straight away I thought, yes, you hit the nail on the head right there, because Coutinho would go in. The only thing with Coutinho is almost like you'd have to build a team around him, and I think with some of these youngsters, you can build a team around him with these youngsters.
That's what I'm saying. That you've got the legs. Coutinho is not always. I think one of the reasons why he had to move from Liverpool, he's not a Klopp type of player. He's not got that sort of high energy pressing all around the pitch, blah blah blah. But if you're going to bring him into someone like Arsenal, where you've got a lot of younger legs around him, let them do all the work.
Yeah,
that's what they should try and do around Ozil. But I think that Ozil boat is gone. It's sailed.
Yeah,
so
it's gone.
If you bring someone else in of that sort of high caliber, right, regardless of who you think he's going to be running and pressing and doing all of that, you know that when you give him the ball, he's going to make a difference. Get the legs around him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get people doing all the other stuff around him, and then you just give him the ball where you need to be creative in that final third. That's how I look at football.
And I think also because of the Brazilian link as well with Edu at the club, I think this would be spot on. He could go there, get a deal done, because he's back at Barcelona at the moment and he's not even featuring.
Just trying to see who Coutinho's agent is. Carry on, sorry.
Now, the only thing I would say to that, and again, I'm only going to go this, and it's not trolling Arsenal fans. It's just, would he want to go to Arsenal? You know, a player like that sat at the bench at Barcelona now.
Wow. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I did not realize Philip Coutinho's agent is Kia Jarabchin. So,
oh, wow.
That even, do you know what I mean? Kia Jarabchin's had his hands all over this Arsenal team so at the moment. So that it's starting to, do you know what I mean? When you're saying these things, it's starting to make more and more sense. But
that
sorry,
was just a guess. That was just a complete looking at it from a footballing perspective, who they need.
Yeah.
That's what they need. They've got a Smith Rowe. Yeah, he's done well in the few games he's been in there, but he's still a youngster. He's what, 20? Yeah. You can't rely on him to take the whole team all the way through the rest of this season, particularly in the situation they are. They might win on 2 or 3 games on the road, but then they could draw a couple of games, lose a couple of games here. That's going to be putting them back down in that mud. They need to be, you know, looking at as a team that's going upwards. And a player like Coutinho, again, we're talking like an agent here. I'd be selling him. I'd be selling that way.
Yeah,
he's been a bit part player at Barcelona. I mean, it's not even like the best thing Arsenal could do right now is go and get Coutinho on a 6, 18-month, 12-month loan and just see if it works out, and at least put in an option to buy. So if it works out, cool. You've got yourself a good, decent player for the next maybe 2 years. Don't give him a 4-year contract and whatever, but that's probably what Arsenal will do. They'll probably give him a 4-year contract.
But with Coutinho, though, how much would he improve that team right now?
I think he would.
He would improve that team massively.
That team so much. And the thing is, what Coutinho brings that's different to Ozil, and I'll finish on this one, is Coutinho can kind of create something out of nothing. So if you give Coutinho the ball anywhere between 30 yards of the goal, he could potentially take a shot that's going to go in. I've seen Coutinho shoot the same shot, like shoot from the same position every single time, and it's hit top bins every time. If you've got a player who might be able to do that, maybe 40-50% of the time, that's it goes so far for Arsenal's goal output. I mean, if you can get a player who can score a long shot maybe 5 times, 10 times in the season, that's increasing your goal output by 10 goals. You can win games from doing that. Players taking pop shots, you can win games. Look what Lanzini did to Spurs. You take a shot from range and you score. You've galvanized that whole team and you've boosted them. So I think Coutinho is an absolutely amazing option for Arsenal. I don't know whether they'll do it, but that makes the most sense to me, definitely.
That was a Sam Spurs for life.
Give him credit. Go on. You can have that one.
Sam, you can have that one.
You can have that one.
You can have that one, man. Because I didn't see it. I did not see it at all. I didn't see it. And the minute you said it, I just thought to myself, 100%.
Yeah, Adam says, would Coutinho go to Arsenal? I think we all agree. I think Coutinho during right now in his current situation at Barcelona, I think he would take. Arsenal's a big club. Don't forget. I will even admit that Arsenal. I think he would go to Arsenal. I think he would definitely go to Arsenal. I think he would if you're told you can change this Arsenal team, you might be able to bring them back to what they want to be. I think that's an opportunity that Coutinho would take, definitely.
He's a senior player. Like you said, he would obviously infuse the youngsters around him. You might say, bring in Philip Coutinho. He left Liverpool, 100 mil, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And he's still quality. I've seen him play some quality games for both Bayern and for
Barca in the semi-final.
I mean? So, he's got that ability. I just don't know whether or not, there must be something in it for him at Barca, why he's not getting in. I'm not understanding why. We don't know all the details. We can't go behind the scenes and know these things. But you can only go by a person's past experience. And like I said, because he's a proven Premier League player, that ticks one of the boxes off me straight away.
What I was going to say as well with it, it's almost like when I look at Coutinho and go back to his time at Liverpool, it's almost like when Jurgen came in, he almost elevated Liverpool, didn't he, on his own? He almost like grabbed everything.
He brought something out of nothing.
Yeah.
The opportunities came out of nothing with him. He would score goals that you'd think, how on earth did you even...
Yeah.
Where did that even come from?
He would sit there and he'd drive that. He was like almost the Gerrard of Liverpool when he first came in. And I think the problem is he got too big for his boots.
I think
that's when the issue is.
He wanted that move, and the money was. If you get
the money, the money that were offered. They couldn't turn that down.
You can't deny that.
You can't turn that down. They rebuilt what they've rebuilt from the selling Coutinho, you can see what they've obviously done in those 2-3
years. Were bought from that money, weren't they? I mean, look at what we did with the Bale money. Look at what Liverpool did with the Coutinho money, and that's the difference. Reinvest.
That's pinpointing what you actually need. They didn't actually need to have a Coutinho. Well, I take that back. They would have loved to have a Coutinho, but they needed a goalkeeper and a centre back more.
And they had creators, and they had. Firmino was here Firmino was here. No, he 100%. Came. Yeah. Firmino was here. I think I can't remember when he came. 2014. He was here slightly before Klopp. I think
it was there before Klopp. Yeah, it was there about 2 seasons.
So they had Firmino. I think you're right in what you're saying. If you reinvest that money right, you can really change your whole team's outlook and perspective in the next few years. But no, thank you for this show today, guys. I think that was really good. I think we had a few plays that we don't know about, but the conversations are good. So guys, if you'd like to like and subscribe to FTB Sports, we're slowly getting up there with the numbers. So make sure you like and subscribe, and content's coming out daily. So just keep your eyes open, and you'll see some of us soon. So thank you very much, and enjoy your day, guys. Thank you, Sam and Sola.
Cheers. Thank you.
Guys. See you later.
Bye. Bye.